The opinions expressed in the interview are those of the guest speaker and do not purport to reflect the opinions nor views of It's Topical with Imano YouTube channel.
Like the energy that's in this space is like a wholesome energy. It's the energy
Yeah.
that's driving. It's the energy
Yeah,
that's
true.
energetic. There's people that walk in here that say they walk in here and they feel like they feel valued as creatives and as artists. So I wanted to be a part of that process.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things to do as a creative, right, is step away from doing it and managing it. That's hard. This season is done. Now you're in a new season for another thing. And from the podcasts that are created in a year, 90% of podcasts don't make it past the 20th episode.
Welcome to the first episode of It's Topical with myself, Imano. And on today's show, we're going to be chilling with an amazing, and I say this with chest, and an amazing individual. He's all the way from AMP Studios. So we're going to be profiling him. So make sure you stick around and you stay tuned. Make sure that you subscribe and you like and you share with your listeners. Cheers. I'm so delighted, guys, to actually even introduce this person that we're going to be chilling with. I'm assuming most of y'all know him. We're going to be chilling with my brother here, Bundu, a.k.a. Black Slim. He's Black Slim in the streets. We're going to be talking all things being an operational manager, being a culture researcher, and being an influence in the podcasting space. So without wasting time, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for my brother, Black Slim.
What's up, brother?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm actually quite nervous, Just
Why are
chilling
you nervous?
I'm just chilling right here next to you, because this is on another level, bro. Like,
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
How was your day? Let's break the ice. How was your day?
well, honestly speaking, my day was, it was okay. But then we're gonna get into that because something actually transpired.
Yeah, bro, I like your ways, my dog. I'm telling you, like, these things, they feel like I've tried them,
Yeah.
right? This feels like a lot of work. And everyone who does waves and has waves, it's like, no, it's easy. I just, like, brush my hair.
Yeah.
5 minutes a day.
Yeah,
you
and
liars. That's what you are. You guys are liars.
Yeah, honestly speaking, even me, because, like, I love, just to look good and all that,
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, I've spoken to people who are, like, doing them, and they told me, like, the very same thing.
How long did it take?
Yeah, bro, just brush my hair.
How long did it take?
Which ones to do these waves?
For it to get there.
For me to get here, I took it's like, okay, now it's easy for me to get here. Yeah, it's too easy because yeah. But then it took like a week, 2 weeks.
Stop
max.
playing, bro.
I'm telling you, bro.
Stop.
Like, I'm telling you, like a week.
That's lying.
I'm
Okay,
telling you.
for
Yeah,
real?
but then yeah, with the products that you be
What
using.
products do you use?
I use Cantu. I use Easy Waves.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, Cantu, Easy Waves, and Wave Station.
You have to sleep with the do-rag on.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But then, as I say, for me to get here, it wasn't easy. But then now it's easy because like my hair
Your hair's like used to it.
It's, so I can go to bed and be like, and then I wake up and you just brush it and then we're good to go. Yeah, but then enough about me though. How you doing, my brother?
I'm tired. I'm sick.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to complain. I'm all right, man. Just India fatigue is a real thing.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of like rounding up everything in my own personal life, but also as the spaces AMP Studios.
Yeah. Shout out to AMP Studios too, for connecting us and just for allowing us to actually come through and just use this space. We as the It's Topical with myself, Emmanuel, we just wanted to say that we're so grateful,
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. We're glad that, the space is available for people to use like that. You know what I mean? So we are happy that people are able to utilize it. We are happy that people are able to at least get the best, hopefully, hopefully the best service out of it and get the best quality in terms of content. That is the aim of the space.
Okay, now let's talk more about you, my brother. Obviously, you have my audience there. You're new to them. Some of them, they do know you. Who is Black Slim? Like, who is?
It's a very open question.
Yeah, but then briefly, just
yeah. I'll try and give you like the short answer. Black Slim is a guy from Cape Town. Moved to Joburg about 4 years ago. Moved to Joburg as an artist. I made music. I was a rapper. I still write music, but I don't write music for myself anymore.
Yeah.
And once I got to Joburg, I started to understand. I'm from Cape Town originally, so the what drove me was more like the culture of music, or culture of hip hop. I got to Joburg and started to understand more like the money side of things.
Okay.
That became a lot more enticing to me, to be honest. But I also I started being a musician because I wanted to make an impact. And when I got here, I realized I could make an impact in more than just music, you know what I mean? And I understood that I could make impact in the form of culture, right? And music was my entry level, but then I realized that I could do more than just music. I was lucky and blessed enough to be able to do things that are more than just music. I'm able to be an A&R. Anyone doesn't know what an A&R is? It's someone who listens to music for different labels, whatever, right? I was able to go into A&R. I was able to be a content creator. I was able to be a strategist. I was able to basically marinate myself into the industry. Do you know what I mean? In whatever way I could. And I found this place, which catered to all those things.
So now, before you even like, obviously, was introduced to this space.
Yeah.
So like, I would say for me, like, I'm getting that energy of you already like, okay, cool. You said that you're already like an artist like that, but then I feel like you wanted more out of being
as an
artist.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, like I wanted to make an impact. Do you know what I mean? Like I wasn't sure what was the best way to make an impact at the time. And music seemed like the best way. And it still is one of the best ways to do it. I just don't like doing things that are forced. You know what I mean? So at the time, I felt like I was forcing music, and I was like, okay, cool. How else can I make an impact? Okay, cool. I can make an impact by being a content creator. I can make impact by being an A&R. I can make impact by being a strategist. I found different ways to make an impact, and I think I was lucky enough through the relationship side, both leading up to Joburg, to be able to meet people here, guys like John Savage, who built the space. I met him in Cape Town originally, but he told me when I got here that he had
the space
that he had just, it was like the walls weren't even painted when he had told me about it yet. You know what I mean? So it was still wet behind the ear. But I found the space, and I was like, it was a really cool space. I was like, yo, I want to be here. I didn't know what I want to do here. I didn't think of ever being an operations manager, ever, right? But I knew that I wanted to be here. I think there's a lot of people that walk into AMPD that always say, like, I feel like the energy that's in this space is like a wholesome energy. It's the energy that's driving. It's the energy that's energetic. There's people that walk in here that say, they walk in here and they feel valued as creatives and as artists. So I wanted to be a part of that process.
Yeah. Basically, what you're saying, bro, is what I felt.
Oh, for real? Yeah. Oh, that's good then. It's not like, false advertising.
Yeah. Like, honestly speaking, like, it's what I felt like walking in. Back in the days, like, the studios were like different. You know, now we've upgraded. Now we soft.
Oh, yeah. Big. That's a big thank you and a big shout out to MTN for that, man, to be able to put the space in a position where often when a brand collaborates with the creative space, right? There's often like a takeover, you know what I mean? And everything just becomes brand related and brand related. But the way that MTN has come into AM Studios and come into the relationship as a partner, not just as a sponsor, but as a partner, they've been able to help us still stay in the same track that we want to go in. You know what I mean? Like, it's not difficult. You can still use the space even if you're not an MTN subscriber, but you have benefits because you're an MTN subscriber. So we're not saying, we're not isolating you because you're not a part of our partner, but we're saying because you are, right, you get more incentive. And not many brands are willing to do that. It's either yes or no, you know what I mean? So we are lucky enough to get like a very understanding partner.
Yeah, because like, honestly speaking, what you've stated, it really, helped us as creatives to like, okay, cool. In here, we are so appreciated in a way that...
That's dope.
Yeah, bro. Like,
that's happy for me to hear.
Yeah, because like, honestly speaking, like, I can see like the visions that you guys are like taking, the way that you're taking, you know, the content creation, like very seriously. Let's talk about that. Like you being an operational manager here, like what does it mean when you hear content?
When I hear it or when I see it?
When I hear it,
and see it.
you see it, you dream about it. Like,
what does it mean? I mean, bro, like I'm lucky enough, and I think everybody who works here is lucky enough to be part of a process. You know what I mean? So, of taking something from A to maybe not Z, but A to C or A to
D.
F or A to J or whatever. You know what I mean? So, and you're dealing with people's dreams every day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get too sentimental, but then, if you think about it, you know what I mean? People come here with an idea, and sometimes that idea is a bad idea, right? And you need to help them carve it into a better idea. You know what I mean? Most of the time, I don't think there's such thing as a bad idea, just what's the word I'm looking for? A misconstrued idea. Right, so like an idea that's not, they don't have the meat of it yet. They just have like a skeleton, and you come in. I come in as an operations manager. We have the technical guys. I mean, the guys that are back there now, Floyd. They come
shout
in.
out to them too.
Yeah, Rivik. They come in as like to put the meat together to this thing. You know what I mean? So, sticking to that metaphor, it's very important to make sure that the meat that you're attaching to the skeleton or to the bone is the right type of meat, to make sure that it's healthy enough, to make sure that it's gonna go the distance. Do you know what I mean?
It has a purpose.
Yeah, you know what I mean, that it has a purpose. And the guys here put in an insane amount of hours, bro. An insane amount of hours. I mean, I don't like making interviews about me too much. You know what I mean? So I'll make a lot of examples a lot of the time, but they may be hearing this for the first time even, but the business model of AMPD, let me not say business model, but one of the core characteristics we look for in the space is we want creators to be courageous. We want them to be as courageous as the people that work in the space. You understand? Because for me, right, it's like you can have all these things, but if you're not courageous enough to try something new, if you're not courageous enough to be open, then you'll limit yourself. Do you know what I mean? So we don't really, I don't want to say we don't care, but we're not saying if you're not the best sound guy, then you can't work at that. If you're not the best visual guy, you're not. But if you have courage enough to try something, if you say, okay, cool, try and do this, and you don't know how to do it, 90% of the stuff that everyone does here, they're doing for the first time. I promise you can ask the guys at the back, right? It's like, whether it's sound, whether it's visuals, whether it's setting up a stage, a set design, whether it's putting together a presentation, whether it's putting together a call sheet. It's most of the time we're doing this thing for the first time, but it's like, if you being introduced to something for the first time, are you going to shy away, or are you going to approach it and then be courageous enough to see it through? Even if you fail, at least you tried. Do you know what I mean? And if we embody that within the space and then encourage the people walking in to embody the same thing, yes, you may never tried a podcast. Yes, you may have never recorded a song, but if you're courageous enough to try it out, I mean, then we all do our part. And that's the aim.
Talking about music, let's take it back. Talking about music, what type of like music like do you like usually like create, and when?
What type of music do I look like I create? Let me just.
You look like.
No?
No.
Really?
No. You look like you do like Afro pop. You know those
For real?
lovable music. Yeah. Like
Lovable.
Afro pop.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen Floyd smile in a shoot. No, I do hip hop.
You do
actually.
hip-hop,
but like for me, I would write a lot of hip hop. But if I was tasked to write for like another artist, a lot of the time I would be writing a lot of R&B records. Actually,
R&B records. So that's the energy that I'm getting. You know, like
which is weird. It's actually crazy. It's actually crazy. A lot of R&B. Afrobeats. I feel like Afrobeats is Afrobeats is about love, God, and forgiveness, which is like R&B, just like with a different tempo. So Yeah, I lean towards. I mean, I'm hip hop
You're
myself,
hip-hop,
but
yeah.
I try and write as many different genres as possible. Yeah, it's like a muscle that I try and train over and over and over again.
Nah, no facts,
Yeah.
facts, bro. So now moving on to you actually being a part of AMP Studios, being a part of the movement. What challenges did you like face just like entering this space and you know
Okay.
just you being a part of this industry?
The challenges. Okay, before I answer that, can I give you a challenge that because I'm not the only person in the AMP Studios, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's a whole team. So
Yeah, yeah.
I may be the first person to interview, but I hope I'm not the last person you interview.
Yeah, most definitely, most
Okay,
definitely.
good.
Most definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You were saying what challenges?
Yeah, what challenges like did you face like coming in?
Yo, bro. It's a solid question.
Yeah.
What challenges? I think,
Because we know like you enter a new space
yeah,
and you're trying to fit in, you're trying to please,
yeah.
like
I mean, I think, one of the hardest things to do as a creative, right, is step away from doing it and managing it. That's hard. Like, it's hard. So, I had to step away from being an artist to like managing a booking of an artist or managing the sound of, you know what I mean? So that's always, I don't know how to explain it, but I think a lot of people struggle with that. Like,
yeah, true.
it's letting go, right? Sometimes you feel like you're giving up on a certain part, like this means I'm now quitting this thing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not quitting this thing. You just like this thing season is done. Now you're in a new season for another thing, and with new season comes climate change, so which means the weather's not the same, the environment is not the same. I've learned that I've had to learn. I hate having difficult conversations, for example. Anybody who knows me would know I can't stand it, bro. Like, I hate fighting. I hate arguing. But part of management requires you, 90% of your days, you're putting out fires. Right? 90% of the day is what happened maybe earlier. Like you say, yo, I had this and I have this. And it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So I've learned how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I've learned how important client service is, and it's not about creating the best podcast or creating the best song, right? People don't come back because they've created the best song here. They come back because they're comfortable here. They come back because they treated well here. You know what I mean? So it's understanding all the soft skills, like communicating, like time management, like all these things that help the process of a booking better, that help the process of creating a product to be better. So those are things that I didn't learn about. I never went to school for.
Most definitely.
But kind of like School of Life kind of helped me understand those things to the best of my ability. And I'm figuring them out. Like, I think not just me, I think everybody in the space is figuring it out, bro. Even creatives that walk in here, you starting this podcast, if I can ask you, like, episode 100, what do you think it's going to look like? You probably don't know, right? You're figuring it out. But the dope part is that we're figuring it out together. Therefore, we're building an ecosystem.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Like, you just, like, honestly speaking, you sound like this person who really cares a lot about the next person. Because, like, now I'm talking to you.
I don't care about people.
Nah, bro. Like, honestly speaking, like, I'm talking to you right now, and then you're like, yo, you kept mentioning the team, kept mentioning, you understand?
Yeah.
Like, you feel like, seems like, each and everybody that is around you, like, has value, and you value them too.
I mean, I think that's how a team is. Like, AMP is like a tech company, bro. It's like a startup. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that that we only figuring out for the first time, right? And AMP is a cultural space. It's a creative space, but it's now we trying to be the most innovative space also, so we're pushing boundaries in innovation, you know what I mean, with the stuff that we're going to do. I don't know if I can talk about them, but with the stuff that we're going to do, you know what I mean, that has that. And when you pushing towards innovation, you break
boundaries.
Trust me, there's no one that's worked here that hasn't hasn't felt like the SSL has broken them or camera setup has broken them. Ask, right? But you realize, okay, cool, I can't do this by myself. I have a team to be able to do this. You know what I mean? Like, you can say, oh, Empty's dope and I'm dope, but without all these guys, bro, like I would suffer. I wouldn't even know how to press record on these Black Magics. Dead ass, like I wouldn't know. So it's understanding that, like, okay, cool, there's roles and then play your role. Do you know what I mean? But also, make sure that you play your role well enough for other people to play their roles. Do you know what I mean? I think that's one of the most important things when putting together a space like this, is understanding that everyone has a different role. Even though our roles do bleed, but people have different roles, and helping them be the best versions of themselves within that role.
Yeah, within that role.
Yeah.
I like what you said. You spoke mostly about like innovation, So
that's the aim.
Yeah, that's the aim, right? So now with this whole new setup that you got going on here, like what is the aim for it? Like what you guys are trying to achieve, as AMP Studios and as the team?
Okay, let me give you like the overall aim of AMPed, right? Yeah. The aim of AMPed is why AMPed is built, why AMPed was built, what idea was in John Savage's head, right? This is the reason AMP was built. AMP was built because South Africa, outside of commodities like gold, copper, diamonds, right? All those things. Outside of those things, our biggest export is talent. Right? So we export all these other resources, but our biggest export outside of commodities is talent. So South Africa has a great deal amount of talent, right? But within that talent, we are shortchanged at resources and we are shortchanged at information, right? So then John Savage, not me, John Savage and Carl came up with the concept to say, let's then build a space, a hub where what creatives lack, which is resources like cameras, recording studio, microphones, what they lack, they can get that for free, right? And not just only get the resources, but get information, right? So how many artists, how many creatives do you hear that have passed on broke? Do you know what I mean? Also, rest in peace to Zahara. I know she passed away. But anyway, how many artists passed away broke? Do you know what I mean? So their aim was build a space where that problem can be solved. That's a huge problem. In fact, that's probably like a global problem. Right? But we face it here at an intense level. So they were like, let's build a place where artists can, one, get the resources, which is the stuff that are in front of us, but then also get the information through these master classes. Do you know what I mean? So there is no job like this. You can't go to school for a job like this. Do you get what I'm saying? It's almost like an app. I always say AMPed is like an app. It doesn't close. We may say our operational hours are from 9 till 6, but trust and believe, these people editing till crazy hours. People wake you up. I get woken up by people asking me for something at 5 a.m. in the morning. Do you know what I mean? So we understand that this is a startup and you have to treat it like that. You know what I mean? And without the people, this thing means nothing. It's built for the people. So without the people, it won't mean anything.
You just said like working as obviously a culture driver, innovator in a way. So now what do you see with this future of podcasting in South Africa?
The future of podcasting, that's a good question. Where I see podcasts going. I mean, I never saw it being here. Right? I think we've probably just touched the surface, or touched the water, let me rather say, with podcasting. I think people are becoming more accepting of different opinions. Right? I think when you go on social media, everything is the same. Right? It's like there's like a border. Like the same way with news. There's like you can't cross over there. You can't say that about that or speak ill about that person or do that. So I think podcasting is is now a voice for, I guess, the voiceless.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's weird. There's a lot of males that are starting podcasts now, which I think a lot of males start podcasts because social media stopped being a safe space, right? So it's like if you say something as a male on social media, you can get cancelled, right? But like, yo, you can't say that. So you had to kind of like walk on walk on eggshells. Yeah, right. You have to sugarcoat stuff. And a lot of males then said, okay, cool. Like, if I can't express myself on social media, give me a mic, give me a roadcaster, let me start a podcast. Yeah. Right. But now it's our job to help podcasters understand. They're like, okay, cool. You have a voice, you have an opinion, you have a strong opinion, but do you want to make money from this thing? Yeah. If you want to make money from this thing, this is what it means, right? Like, for example, one of the things that we try and sit down with if someone's starting a podcast, the first question we try and get out the way is, does your podcast have an identity, right? So if your podcast doesn't have an identity, you will get swallowed with the masses, right? So 90% of podcasts that are created in a year don't make it past the 20th episode. Why? Because there's no identity, right? It's because you come on, you switch on the mic and you have a conversation, right? But it's like, if your podcast has an identity, if you think of the top 5 biggest podcasts, I'm not going to name them, but if you think of the top 5 bigger podcasts that you can think of, whether it's locally, on the continent, or in the world, you know what I mean? They have an identity. I promise you, you can say, okay, cool. This podcast, this is what this is about. Yeah. This podcast, whether it's sensationalism, whether it's current affairs, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's cryptocurrency, whatever it is, right? It has an identity, right? So that's the first thing we try and that's the first meat we try and add to the bone to say, okay, cool. What's your identity? Then build from that identity. Do you know what I mean? So it's just little things like that help. That get us to help the content creator understand this thing as a more longevity thing. We ask you questions that force you to go home. That force you to go home. Like to go home and think, okay, cool, I didn't think about that. Yeah, right? True. We try and do that. But to bring it full circle, I think the future of podcasting, I see it being like television shows. But live shows. I see podcasts, it's about opinions, right? Yeah. So it's like, now how many people can you fit in a room? How many people can you fit in a hall? How many people can you fit in a stadium? Mac G's already doing that, right? And you can take that and leverage that with brands and say, yo, I can, because views can be bought. But how many people can you fit in a room? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you're trying to make impact, because that's what podcasts are trying to do. They're trying to have unconventional conversations, hoping that they make an impact and empower people. So I that's the direction I see it going. I see a lot more podcasting, a lot more live podcasting. Hopefully, they say podcasting can get catching, but hopefully it doesn't, which means there's not like a label that's gonna
capture the
come
the
in. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think it's like cryptocurrency like 10 years ago, man. It's like this thing could go anywhere. It could go anywhere. You know what I mean? There's very little laws around it. There's very little, I mean, if you say artists are managed, right? Artists have record labels, they have agencies. Influencers have agencies. Do podcasters have agencies? Nah. You know what I mean? Why don't they? You know what I mean? So there's still that direction which I feel like it can go. I think people should focus on, so if someone's at after right now, focus on producing as many podcasts. Be the biggest producer of podcasts. You know what I mean? Like in the same way, like what 50 Cent's doing with Power. Do that with podcasts. Do you know what I mean? Like, just produce as many different types of podcasts. Be the go-to person for podcasts, because you're the go-to person for information.
Jeez, man, you sound like, like you know what you're talking about. Do you read a lot?
I hope so. Do I read a lot? Yeah. I watch a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, most definitely. But then either way,
I don't
man,
read that, but I don't read as much as I should, bro.
Yeah. But then, so like, what's next for you, my brother? What's on the table? What you working on?
It's December,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the timing of this question is
Yeah.
tough.
Obviously, yeah,
The timing is tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, let me say for Amped, then I'll say for me, because I don't see me without Amped. So next for Amped, I mean, it's just getting the space, running to the best of its ability.
Yeah.
I think it's coming up with ideas, activations that are gonna connect the culture. That's what we want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, we want to connect the culture. We want this place to be, as we said, like a cultural hub where people come together. You know what I mean? Where you can bump into somebody who's never started a podcast and the biggest podcaster in the same space. You want to bump into an award-winning artist and someone that's one song away from their biggest, from their blow up. All in one room, you know what I mean? All in one space. We want to cut out the lines of division within the cultural space. I think Amped has always been seen as like an urban space, and then urban is attached to hip hop and only hip hop. You know what I mean? We want to kind of like shape shift that so it's not one dimensional. We don't want to. We want to branch out into. We want actors in here. We want acting master classes. You know,
we want like filmmakers.
We want filmmakers in here. Do you know what I mean? We
Content producers.
Yeah, you know what I mean. We don't want it to be limited. We trying to take it one step at a time, though. You know what I mean? Like, musicians that come out of here must be some of the smartest musicians you've ever come across. Must be some of the most well-informed musicians you've ever come across. If it's content creators, must be some of the best content creators you've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? You must be able to identify that, that is a podcast that comes from Amped. Even if you don't see me being interviewed, or anybody in the team being interviewed. Do you know what I mean? That's what we want for the space. We want the people that work here to be able to change the world. I'm not even like, this is not shortchanging it in any way. We want them to be able to change the world. We want people who work here to be able to take the influence, the information that they get here from a cultural perspective, and hopefully there'll be an Amped Asia. You know what I mean? And hopefully there's an Amped, you know what I mean? Yeah, there's an Amped LA, there's an Amped Amsterdam, there's an Amped New York, and now the world becomes smaller through culture. Do you know what I mean? That is like that's like the 5-10 year plan of what we'd love to turn the space into, that the world is able to connect through culture. Most of the time we don't understand each other because of culture. If I understand your culture better, I'm able to empathize with you, right? But if I know what type of music you listen to, that's why we now empathize with the Nigerian culture a little bit more, because we listen to their music more. You may not know what Burna Boy is saying, but you know what he wants you to feel. You know what I mean? Through the lyrics, you can hear what he wants you to feel. And we want to be able to execute the same thing by bringing the culture much closer. That's the aim
of
for Amp Studios. Is to connect the culture and make it one.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And for you, what are you working on?
For me, bro, what am I working on, bro? I'm still writing. I've taken a break off music. I'm interested. I don't know if I'm interested. I think I'm just being swayed in the direction of management.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to manage an artist. I just don't feel like I have the time, but I'd love to manage an artist. I am working on content. So from a content perspective, I'm into podcasting myself. I'm working on building. Can I say this? Not yet. I'll come back on another episode for it.
Okay, cool.
But more than anything, man, I'm working on impact. I'm trying. My 2024 looks like impact. If you ask me, like, describe 2024 in one word, it's impact for me. It's like I want to make sure that everything I touch is impactful. From I want to be able to be working. I want to consider myself a high performer. Anybody who follows me on social media or follows me wherever knows I try and not waste a second without working, whether it's gymming or creating content or strategizing on how to make AMPD better, or how to make myself better, or how to build something. So my aim for 2024 is impact. Yeah. How I'm gonna make impact, just follow me to find out.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's like the
bro.
easiest way I can put it.
No, man, thank you so much, for, coming through to the show. Really enjoyed, like having you.
Thank you, man. I'm tired as hell, by the way.
Tired,
If my eyes look bad, guys, I don't smoke or anything like that. I'm just really, really, really tired.
Yeah, bro. But either way, man, may God bless you. And thank you for actually coming through.
Thank you.
From me and Jauhelo and the rest.
You're a spiritual person, eh? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm so spiritual.
You're a spiritual person?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but then either way, man, thanks to you and your time and AMP Studios for creating such a moment for us. It really is amazing.
Pleasure. Good luck for your podcast. I hope this is like the first of many. All the blessings, bro.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.